Hi, and welcome to White Hat versus Black Hat SEO Show. My name is Josh Bashinsky, and today we are very lucky to have a bunch of very special guests. First off, we have Mike Pierce and Brad Mabry from NFG SEO. How you doing, boys?
Good.
Yeah, real good.
I need to mute myself. Everyone take a drink. I forgot to mute myself. So anyway, we have Mike and Brad with us from NFG SEO. How you doing today, guys?
Doing well.
Real good.
We're glad to have you here. Brad, I have to check with you at the beginning of the show. How many fucks are given at this point in the show?
None right now.
None at this time. None at this time.
No
Right.
fucks given so
good
far.
to know.
Yeah.
Good
We'll
to
check
know,
at the
good to
end.
know.
Yeah.
And we have another special guest who knows these guys. His name is Jordan Pierce.
What's up, everybody?
So Jordan, Brad, and Mike, as I understand it, you guys run GMB Master Academy. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I know you guys are sold out, but just to tantalize everyone, something they can't have, why don't you tell us a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for about 10 years, mainly targeting maps, listings, optimization. So Mike and I, we've known each other for almost a decade now, and it's something that he really kept bugging me about and saying, hey, we need to put this course out. So it's a course that we all actually had put together. It walks you through A to Z, how to optimize your GMB all the way up to doing your on page, and it does it step by step. So it's a full online course, and we just launched it 3 weeks ago? No,
2
Mike?
to 3, yeah, something like that.
2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah.
And would you say it's more on the black hat side, or it's white hat?
No, it's anyone who wants to learn how to optimize. I would say probably the first few modules is white hat, and then as you kind of get later down, it starts to get into the more speed and black hat.
Right. And that makes sense in terms of a general progression, depending on the competition you're with.
It's exactly why it's done that way. It's done on a trip to make sure people, if they do the process as an SEO, sometimes you don't have to do everything, and you don't want to do everything on every template. So it's more about making sure that you know what you need to do at a minimum, and if that works, you can maintain, and if you're not, move on into the next layer.
Yeah, we've still got that webinar up too if anyone wants to check it out. NFGSEO.com. Yeah, it's got some. He dropped some bombs in there. So
sure. Well, maybe at the end of the show you can drop the webinar, so we'll make people wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Make people wait to the end of the show for the webinar, and if you guys can share that, that'd be great. So great, guys. It's fantastic. I'm very glad to have you guys on the show, and so we're going to get to more of your local SEO stuff. And showing up late and tardy, as per usual, is the casual, our Black Hat co-host, Clint Butler. Say hi there, Clint.
All right, Black Hat, do what I want.
He was getting his hat dry cleaned. So.
No, I needed dry clean. Jesus.
There you go. A black hat is never late. A black hat appears exactly when he means to. Okay, so thanks for joining us, Clinton. Thanks for joining us, guys. So we're going to get into the local SEO stuff. We're going to be today is another Q&A show, another site clinic show. So, folks, if you're watching live on YouTube, on the top right-hand side, you'll see the chat feature. Ask us any kind of SEO question, especially local SEO. Today, we're going to try and focus especially on local SEO, and ask us your questions and try to put some asterisks by the questions just so I can see it with these giant Coke bottle glasses here. You see how blind I am? See that?
It's pretty bad.
But you need to put some asterisks beside it so I can see what the heck you're asking us. And I can know that for sure that's a question for us. So please ask us in the chat if you're watching live, or ask us in the comments if it's after the show and you're asking afterwards. And we'll get to your questions throughout the show. Before we do that, we're going to open up with the first segment, which we normally open up with, which is what is new in SEO today. And what's new in SEO today is, well, a little bit. So as I go over to SEO Roundtable just to get what's new for White Hat SEO, Google has been rolling out a broad core update for the last few weeks. I really tracked this update for me personally on my test servers between April 16th and April 25th or 23rd, more or less. But Barry claims they continue to roll it out, even though I haven't tracked those changes afterwards. And also, so if you've been seeing changes around the mid-April, this could be this core update. And I've got some special news about that as well. Of course, for those of you who don't know, we have a very powerful correlation software. And so we ran it to find out what it thought was the changes. And Google always says in these updates that you can't fix it. It's a core update. There's nothing for you to quote unquote fix. Well, as we know here on the show, they're a bunch of lying bastards. This is the correlations we saw when we ran it before and after from April 16th. This is what we saw, that it was all keyword based, and this is up 172%. So that's not like just a correlation. That's like a screaming, raging fire correlation, right? Yeah. Up 172%. Keywords in the last 100 words, using HTTPS, keywords, title as sale words, and then terms of service was up 50 points from last time as well.
That makes me think of theme/relevancy quite a bit, is what that makes me think of.
Exactly. So it's relevancy, quality signals, like, do you have HTTPS? Do you have a terms of service page? That's from the last update we tracked. That was the month before. So that was very interesting. And again, whenever Google says you can't fix it, they're lying. You can normally fix it. Even if it's a quality update, you can fix it. You can make your quality better. You can't make them change their numbers. Like if they're like, okay, if 1.5% of your users or whatever the percentage is doesn't like you, and then you get Panda, you can't make them change that percentage, but you can make your site better. So you can always fix it. It's what I'm here to say is you can always fix it. And last but not least, what else is new in White Hat SEO is that they are expanding their mobile first indexing. Well, at least according to Barry Schwartz, they're going to be in the next few weeks. And again, their mobile first indexing is a blended index. It's the new way they're doing the indexing. Whereas if you have a responsive design, if you have a mobile design that is adequate to be indexed, they're going to index that instead of your desktop version, because most of their users are on mobile, so it saves them some time / money. And when you're talking about the database size of Google, it probably saves them quite a few $million, probably save them millions of dollars actually at this point. But that doesn't mean you have to go crazy. If you still have a desktop site, they claim there will be no ranking demotion. And they claim that the mobile will blend perfectly. It's blended with mobile and desktop, depending on who has what ready to go. So what do you guys think about that? Do you believe that Google's telling the truth? There's going to be no ranking demotions for a crappy mobile or no mobile design?
I think it's, if there's a crappy design, you're going to have issues with other things that are going to cause problems. Whether
it's going to mess with bounce back,
mess with engagement, everything.
So you think it'll be an indirect problem?
Yeah, I do. I think it all.
At the very least, yeah.
I would probably agree. I mean, I've been the one in the wilds for the last 5 years saying quality user clicks, and everyone thought it was crazy. And now everyone has pretty much turned to that way of thinking. And I'm like, I was there first, damn it.
Everyone watches your podcast, so yeah.
I was testing with you years and years ago too.
Yes.
So I will vouch for that. You have been there for years.
Yeah. Well, again, you're another early adopter, and we've been talking about this stuff for a long time. So, but yeah, even though Google still denies that they use user clicks, we have plenty of experiments to prove that they do.
Well, one thing that's important to understand is when Mueller says, no, we don't use analytics for ranking, that can just mean the product. That doesn't mean that they're not using all the other ways they can see your traffic to move that around and ranking based on it. He's not lying. It's just clever play on words, right?
Exactly. And that's public relations, right? And that's exactly why he says it that way.
Exactly.
And they're using it because he says it that way, right? He's careful to say it that way every time. So that's what's new in White Hat SEO. What's new in the Black Hat world, if anything, guys? You guys still having a problem with indexing and things like that?
There was a suite for anyone doing mass traffic. That's kind of on more of the Black Hat side. There was a suite, but I'm kind of, it's double-edged sword, because we did have some sites go down, but we're quick enough to rebuild them. So now there's just no competition. So we just build it back up, and we have more traffic than we did before. So it's good. So anyone that has systems in place, that's why you have systems in place, to just get quicker.
Yeah, I heard someone say, and I can't remember who said it, but maybe I thought it up. I can't remember, but there is no Black Hat, but industrial strength Black Hat.
Yeah,
exactly. Like Brad said, it's all about systemization and being able to move fast. But it definitely, the time frames are interesting, because they did correlate with the time frames for some of the relevancy and the core stuff going on. But there was an actual sweep that seemed to target certain markets a little bit more than others. So I think there's a little bit of that core update mixed in with the sweep there as well. But
and it's pretty cool too what they're doing now on their instead of completely de-indexing, they just filter the shit out of it. So you can't really run Scrapebox that easily and tell, okay, this one I'll clear out. This one, you know, they make you guess more, so it's fun.
Yes, I've noticed, and they have all different kinds of classifications for their filtering.
Yeah.
If you check the new Search Console, have you guys looked into the indexing component for that? It's hopefully Google's not listening, because it's a little too open and telling us exactly, like they have different classifications. They have discovered, not crawled. Crawled, not indexed. You know, indexed, but didn't choose your canonical. Chose your canonical, but we like this different canonical. You know, there's all these different classifications. And when you check those results, do a site colon search or do an info colon query in Google, it's the difference between, they say no records came up, the standard, we didn't find this, what you're looking for, and a blank screen. So that's their little hint, right? To say, okay, no, we've just, so, and there's two different classifications, discovered and crawled, but not indexed. So I asked Paul Haar on Twitter, a Google engineer, and he hasn't unfortunately responded. So I'm like, he usually responds to my tweets within 10 minutes or so. So I'm like,
you're too close.
Yeah, exactly. I'm too close to something interesting there, especially what's going on with this new indexing. So I recently acquired a bunch of guest blog posts recently through my wonderful content that they just organically sent to me.
That's awesome.
And I had to make sure that my acquired links were indexed. You know, think about that for a second.
Yeah.
And we came up with the same. I finally have now run into the same kind of problems. I hadn't had any problems up until now. And now I saw some of the pages that were not getting indexed. And I can see now a black and white difference between upstanding blog, clearly has a readership, real people, real writers, versus some hacked edu page on some academic server way in the back room somewhere. And with crappy kind of design and looks like shit. That's what's not getting indexed, at least for me in my case. I'm like, okay, I can see a qualitative difference between what they're filtering and what they're not filtering. So I think it has to do with quality in the thin content / spammy content / duplicative content kind of area.
Yeah, and it's not only just on the site; it's on the site's linking. It's on both sides of the edge and the link, basically. Now you know the updates that recently they did an update to the link graph pattern that the PageRank stuff. So really, realistically, it comes down to, it really does come down to what we always call like triple T or art or whatever. It comes down to having that theme and that traffic and that engagement on both sides of the city. We'll call it, the link basically. You want it everywhere. I mean, you want there to be interaction everywhere, all around your entity. Essentially, is what it comes down to.
I even go so far as to the point that I'll really try and make sure the site has the same theme, not just the page has the same theme to the linking page.
Always, yeah, as much as you can, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know you guys have mentioned that on the show before. For anyone who didn't understand what Mike just said there, you guys have a philosophy about theme or the semantic content relating from the backlink page to the target page.
And the backlinks,
and the backlinks to the backlinks, yeah. Traffic going through some portion of that, if not all of that. And that's basically it, yeah?
Yeah, traffic all on it, even on the pages, not necessarily through the links, but the pages need to be performing, and that's why we do everything the way we do, is to make sure we get as much of that as possible on everything that we push onto the web,
So I had a question for you guys then. So again, when you're acquiring links organically, and you happen to notice
outreach, yeah,
yes, and you happen to notice that a site might have a really good trust rank or trust flow score from, say, Majestic, but this new article they made might or might not. Like this new article is made,
no one
might have clicked on the link.
Yeah. Right.
Would you still consider that a good candidate for linking? Or do you think you really need the traffic through that link directly to your page?
It's a third tier link for me. I kind of classify the links in different tiers of quality, and a new page on an existing site with relevant traffic is a pretty quality link, but it's also not as good as getting a link on an existing page that has traffic. or getting a link on even stronger signals when it comes to Google.
And if it's a brand new page, there's going to be some type of catch up eventually.
Yeah.
So, it could be a brand new page that just hasn't caught on yet. So you get a brand new page or a link from a brand new page. That might even, like in a traditional blog roll, it might have a link from the homepage for a little bit. So it'll pass juice that way. Right. And then it's gonna gain traction. So you might not see the immediate effect, but it'll come back.
Yeah,
later.
And Google, we can thank Rand Fishkin actually for doing these experiments. Moz did some experiments to show that the ghost links, the memory of Google is very long in giving you link juice, even though the link's been deleted for months.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, ghosting is a really big thing.
That's what sucks about clients. When you do your undoing of your outreach, whatever the opposite of outreach, inreach. Right. It's they don't drop. Traditionally, they don't drop right away.
Right. Yeah. A few months later. Yeah. I don't do I don't build to 301s, and I don't unless I intend to for link router purposes. And I never myself pulling a link juice, but other people do that. Yeah.
And the only time anyone should ever even think about something like that is someone breaking contract and really been horrible.
A pain in the ass clients, what he's trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all my clients are lovely, so I have no idea.
Ours too, currently. Yeah, we've had them in the past.
All my clients listening to this are lovely. No, they're all lovely. They're all nice people. Sometimes you get into disagreements, of course, but
before we go too far off the rails, Jordan, you're a resident Google Maps expert. So how is Triple T applied to maps? Can we use those same concepts to maps?
Yeah, so I have a little bit different terminology that I use. It's called TLC, which is traffic, links, and content, which is very similar to what Mike and Brad have. I always think of my listing as being my money site. So I'm always trying to put out as much content as I can. And there's multiple ways that you can do that, which if anyone was on the webinar, I had a big training about reviews. And that is actually one of the ways to build that content out. Also,
post now, right?
And also, posts came out a few months ago, and
did you hear you can add videos to those now? Or they're talking about it or something?
They're talking about it. I don't think it's officially. It might be out for some categories, but it's not out for all of them. But that is something that they're trying to push for. But again, it's going back to getting content out there. There's reasons why Google has certain features on their listings. So when you write a post, you have the ability to actually share that on Facebook and any other platform that you can. Also, too, they just recently added the descriptions into the listing as well. So again, that goes out to getting as much content from your listing as you can. So
still there with the descriptions right now, just because we're talking about it, and if it is, we just let them know. Is the bug still there with the descriptions?
It is. It's something that they're fixing. So with the descriptions, there's a bug right now where if you're writing the full description, they give you, I think, 750 characters. For some people that are writing large amounts, it's actually flagging their listing. It's not happening to all categories, but quite a few service type industries. That's when I'm seeing it the most. So like your plumbers, electricians, things like that.
So be short and sweet for now, right?
What's that?
Short and sweet for now.
Yes. Yes. And actually, I would write, if anyone's watching this, I don't recommend making any edits to your listing at all during this time, because you do run a risk of getting it flagged.
Yeah, I got a couple flags because of that recently within this time period. So I will second that.
Yep.
Well, then it's a perfect segue then to get right into the local SEO questions. So folks, let's go to the chat. Let's go do some local SEO questions. I know, Gabriel, you had a question in the chat. If you want to unmute yourself, and you're a handsome fellow, why don't you turn on your camera too, if you like, unless your daughter's dancing, doing
daughter, wife, whatever. Yeah.
I just put her to bed. But yeah, so I do have a question. So what's a good price point for local SEO services? Because I've heard some people do like, they say 1,000, and then some people say 3,000. But I feel like, international SEO or national SEO is a little bit more work than local SEO. So What's the range out there?
We almost
not necessarily. If you go to an area like New York City, you're going to be putting a lot of time in that.
Yeah, in certain niches too. Like
yes.
lawyers traditionally can be more difficult. Yeah, if they've got more money to spend than they do.
But if you're going after something like lawn care in a city that has like 30,000 people and there's 5 other companies there, it's going to be a lot easier, and that price point's going to go down. So that's something you have to really consider.
What's your range, Jordan? Just on average?
It ranges anywhere between 500 to 3,000. And the 3,000 would be like Miami, New York, LA.
And if you're doing multiple locations too, that's another way to get you can do a price point per location. Like the highest I've ever had was I think it was like $6,000 for a lawyer. That was 3 locations, and we were pushing them for 3 separate terms. So so it's essentially 9 different keyword sets. So
you also got to position yourself. You remember there's all these Indians and Filipinos and everything, and they're offering $2.99 SEO. And then those, they're the
that's who I outsource to, Clint.
Well, yeah, there's some part-timers in the States that do that too. And it's really, at the end of the day, they're ripping off people.
Yes, they are.
You can't even make your bottom line charging that much. So my minimum is $800. My average for local, like plumbers and all that stuff, is $1,500. And then we have clients that are going up at $5,000. So you just kind of have to just play around with that. Do your numbers, do your tools, figure out what it's going to cost you to fulfill the right way and be fair for business.
Multi-location, like Clint was saying, is we have clients at $750 for local, then we have clients at 10,000 plus for local. But those are very, very different campaigns, right? So it's really hard to just. That's why I tell people stay away from package-based SEO, as Clint's kind of getting at. It really depends on the business that comes to you, and knowing your costs, knowing what it's going to cost you to get this stuff done in certain markets at certain difficulty levels is really important, because then you can efficiently quote and get the right contract and the right line items to them, so that you're maximizing your revenue while producing for the client. So I think the first point is knowing what it's going to cost you to actually do the campaign.
And I tack on a pain in the ass tax too. If I think they're going to be a pain in the ass, I charge more.
Oh yeah, definitely. I overbid just in case they might say yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gabriel, the question was a good question. Awesome. Just go ahead and chime in. So let's go to the chat here. DM Zane says, Blue Bay Towing. Would love your guys' thoughts on this site. It's a great example for local SEO. So bluebaytowing.com. Let me share my screen here. I've got it going here. Blue Bay Towing. This is their listing here. This is their search listing. Here's their local listing here. You local guys, what do you think about this? What pops out at you?
Well, right now, right off this back, you get to see some of the stuff that Jordan was talking about. The posts, they're leveraging that. Looks like they have their entity set up pretty well because that knowledge graph's popping.
Yeah.
What city is that in?
Oakland, Oaktown.
Oh, my home state. Cool.
And you can see some of the stuff on those reviews too that were gone over in the webinar. That one that's up there for free, so definitely worthwhile watching, I think.
Yeah, I would definitely take a look at the webinar, because you're going to be able to see some things that you can do in the reviews that are going to really help you target some of those long-tailed and with very little work.
Can you train your clients to do their own SEO?
Yes.
I see.
I do see the posts. Posts are good.
Verification required.
Verification. Can you guys give us a little hint about the posts or about the comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell them if you want.
Yeah. If you look at especially if we have a query that they're ranking for, but I don't want to do that to anybody. But just notice over there in that that panel box in those reviews, you see certain things highlighted, right? I'm trying to get back to your screen.
Scroll down to the bottom.
My screen?
Yeah.
You scroll down to those reviews and stuff. You start to see, as you're doing different queries, you're going to want to pay attention to what Google is showing you on these reviews, essentially.
And maybe what they have bolded?
Yes.
How'd I guess that?
Because you're good.
So
just like
Quora get you anywhere.
Yeah, just like Quora is pulling that relevancy out of the organic search results. Now Google's giving you hints inside of the reviews, and in the webinar, Jordan goes over how to leverage that a little bit more. And
Is there a different way to say towing? I'm just looking at the site. It's like towing. So you may be filtered for. Yeah, exactly. So it's like if you go onto the site and just do a Control F for towing, like it's a shit ton. So
I would cut that down a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's
like
term in SEO, shit ton.
Actually, you should cut it down a lot.
A metric shit ton is what Jordan.
Way too much.
Well, it depends if we're in Canadian or in American, but this is an American site, so we have to keep it imperial.
Yeah. So everyone understands,
Exactly. Right.
That's how they talk in Blue Bay.
Yeah.
But like looking at the title, towing Richmond CA, Blue Bay towing, towing Richmond CA is there again. I would even mix in California. I would cut down on towing quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's a little keyword stuffed, a little overstuffed. Yeah, a little overstuffed, just like Mike.
Yeah, for something easy, use Kyle's tool.
Yeah,
It's going to help you a lot. That's what I was going to ask, if you guys are familiar with Kyle's tool, because I've been using that for huge successes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, if you and for those who are listening, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's Page Optimizer Pro, and use the coupon code Josh5 for 5 free credits.
I'll write that down.
That's capital J, Josh5 for 5 free credits.
Page Optimizer.pro.
Yeah, great stuff. He was in beta for a while, and he took it out of beta, and we're all like, oh, damn it.
Hey.
Yeah, I kept it quiet for a long time.
Okay, so there we go. Let's see what else we got here. Local roadmap. As I'm taking on more clients, I'm trying to write a roadmap, a step-by-step process to ranking with a view to outsource to VA. Cool. I don't know. Do you guys give a local roadmap like that to your clients?
To my clients? Is that what it says?
Yeah.
I think what he's doing, he's talking more, this is my SOP, and I want you to do this on this month and that on that month. And, that works. It makes it easy for you to scale and get multiple clients. At some point, you're going to have to step in, though, on each one of those and make some unique changes.
Yeah.
That's a good start. Most people don't even have an SOP.
Yeah, you've got to have some type of roadmap. Like month 1, I'm going to look at do they have any bad links? Is shit going wrong? Are they over-optimized? Stuff like that. I take care of the on-page. I build out the entity. Then month 2 and 3, I'll start, building link, or hopefully my content will get links at that point.
That would be that awesome.
Yeah. On a local towing site, I'm like, everyone's going to want to share this shit. So yeah, I mean, I give them kind of, an outline of what I do. I don't use a lot of specifics, like a ton of specifics. Like on day 29, I'm going to do this. Day 37, I'm going to do this. But yeah, I'll have a general SOP, like Clint said.
I agree. And again, coming from the white hat perspective, I do almost the exact same thing. You have to audit what you have first to see if there's any glaring technical problems, because you could be 6 months in trying to rank it, and oops, this was roboted out. Of course, it's never going to rank, right? So you got to do an audit first. And here, I'll show you. I've been showing this a lot, and people are going to. Clint will probably get angry, but I'll show you this. This guy, the graph I'm about to show you, this guy swore to me that everything was fine with his site and he didn't need an audit. And we did an audit, and boom, that happened.
I've seen it like that overnight too, and it's always when they don't need one, right?
Right. Yeah. He didn't need an audit, and then bang, that happened. And so I apologize for anyone who's heard that from me before, but I can't get that out of my head. Clients will swear to you, I don't need the audit, it's just an extra cost. You got to check the stuff first. You got to check the technical. You got to check the on page. You got to check all that stuff to make sure it's set right, and then you can do more on-page optimizations and off-page.
I would even say, for the sake of saving money for yourself, even if you didn't sell an audit, at least do a quick one so you're sure that the major stuff is not, there's no issue. If not, you're going to be dropping your link budget. You're just going to be wasting money if you don't do it.
Even a basic tech crawl, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Just do a simple tech crawl and make sure that you're not building on a broke foundation. Because if you are, I've seen it way too many times. People like, I've just been throwing everything at it and it's not moving. And it always is a technical issue in that case. You know?
Especially
and a step further too, I've had people say I've thrown 50 PBN links at this and it's not ranking. I'm like, well, the site's fucked, you know. But then I look at it, it's like one homepage with not that much content, then a contact page that's just a forum, then maybe another page. I'm like, yeah, add some more shit to it, you know. I don't understand why my general PBNs aren't ranking this.
Why is it not ranking? Who knows? Yeah. Especially speed. I mean, I've done some experiments lately in a single variable environment to prove that paint time is a ranking factor. And we went and we added a bunch of CSS from Walmart. We just global link to it from Walmart. And we increased the speed of this page to like 8 seconds, and suddenly it tanked in the rankings. And we removed it, and then it slowly came back. So we know for a fact that, that in a single variable environment where I control all the pages and everything going on. So I mean, we know for a fact that speed is an issue, and so I can throw as many links and on pages as I want, and things will get better. But it's only going to get better to a certain extent. We're going to be stuck on page 2 or 3. If you're stuck on page 2 or 3, you need to do a whole audit to see what's going on because you missed something. There's a reason why it should be on page 1.
Those filters are insidious because you can launch a new site, not know what you're doing, and think you're doing a good job, but you're only getting 20% of what you could be getting because you did everything wrong in your filter. You know, so it's really important. It needs to be beat into everyone's heads to make sure that they look at it every single time. You know?
Right. And it just so happens I've got a special on right now for audits. Just saying, you know, if anyone wanted an audit, it's SEO Miss right now. I'm just throwing it out there.
That's how
I had another question actually for Jordan. Jordan, I've long been a believer that local pages, for me, it's really a conversion game. And I don't like blogs. I mean, maybe you do, so maybe we'll have some disagreement here. That's perfectly fine. But I don't like blogs for local sites too much. I try to make them a conversion-based site to get the person to request a quote as quickly as possible. I'll do the on-page SEO as well, of course, with Kyle's tool that needs to be done. But for me, it's really a request a quote for a service as quickly as possible kind of thing for me. And I looked on the Blue Bay Towing there. I noticed the site looked a little bit old and was a little bit dated. What is I'm curious to what your opinion is about how fresh and how new the design needs to be and how much you have to stress conversions versus like old school kind of blog information page rankings.
Yeah, so I don't use blogs on my local unless it's something that I know is going to build traffic and I know it's good content. Right. But for me, I care about a phone call. That's all I care about. Someone comes to my site and calls me. That's the most important thing. Even going and looking at Blue Bay Towing, I've done a lot of studies. Using red is not good on any site.
Really?
Yes. If you're going to be using blue, use colors like orange.
Yeah.
So that for me, I care about what converts in my phone call. Even when I create maps, I care about the phone call. And yeah, there's things that I need to do to get that ranking, including my website. But for me, it's whatever's going to convert and gets my eye to a phone number as quick as possible.
Yeah. And to keep in mind also, if you are going to be blogging because you know you can pull traffic, it's relevant, you're really going to need to focus on conversion on the blog page. Yeah. It's going to be, you know, useless traffic. If it's coming in, it's not actually making that call or doing its conversion action. Just really have to focus on conversion on those blog pages.
Yeah. You've got to have your CTA somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
and I've even done that with an attorney. He actually wanted to create a blog, and he targeted the Philadelphia basketball team, created a blog, put an ad on Facebook, but he had some type of conversion when someone went to that page. So it was a phone number or a link to fill out a form. It was something that was going to convert that. It's not just content. If I'm going to create a blog, I better have a phone number or an email or some way to reach out to me.
And even with national, I mean, if you're just blogging for the sake of blogging and pulling traffic and not turning that into revenue, you can find yourself in a site that is making 6 figures a month but losing money, depending on if it's staffed or not. I've seen it. You know, I've seen wonderful sites that are losing money month after month because they didn't take into consideration the revenue streams. They went with one revenue stream versus 3 or 4 they could have used, that would have made a non-profitable site profitable. So, I mean, whenever you're pulling traffic, you really ultimately should be thinking about how is that going to make the site money? How is that going to make it?
And is this a hobby or is this a moneymaker?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. I agree completely. I like Jordan because he's agreeing with everything I say so far. So, Jordan, you're welcome back on the show anytime. You can also disagree if you want. It is supposed to be kind of a friendly debate show, so that's perfectly fine.
Well, technically, he didn't really agree with you because your stance is that they shouldn't have blogs whatsoever, and his stance is, don't just have a blog to have a blog. If you're going to have a blog, have a plan. So.
Exactly.
Now, that's it. Damn it! Where's the block button? Where's the punt button on this thing? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so Puck Nabours asks, does click to expand text have a negative effect on ranking? So do tabs that open up a display have a negative effect on ranking? I know what my opinion is. My opinion is no, not anymore.
If you get the textbook Google answer, they just want you to make sure that the data is on the mobile version too, so that it's visible on your mobile version as well as your desktop. But when I use it, it's for reasons to get more traffic, and that usually works out in my favor. So I would say no, it's not negative by default. It can be helpful.
I'll check if SIA has ever tested it, and Ted looks like he wants to weigh in with a core answer.
SIA
we'll have more data with Cora 3, 9, and 4, which can actually look at the rendered HTML and those correlations. Ooh. So we don't have strong evidence for it, but the logical sense is that with Google moving to mobile, it's absolutely required in mobile user interfaces. So if they punished it, they'd be punishing mobile.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that SIA or I have ever done a test on that, but because Google has been pretty transparent lately saying, no, it's not a problem.
SIA tested it.
They did.
There's a big thing going around. No, they don't work. Don't do it. They're going to punish you. And Kyle's like bullshit and tested it. So tabs and carousels,
right?
Whatever way you want to redisplay that content, it all works. Accordions, it's all counted.
Yeah, and it was ranking for words that were even hidden, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's my point when I said it's beneficial, not negative, is that it can allow you to have a nice looking conversion driven page and get more information onto the page as well. So
yeah,
go ahead and use it.
Implementing it. So if I have a big old long piece of content, I just use tabs and break it up. It just makes it easier and easier.
Definitely. Okay, cool. Amit Singh, he has an interesting name, Amit. It sounds very much like Amit Singhal, who used to run Google or the search part of Google. So it might be Amit Singhal, so be careful what you say. Amit Singh says, my client has business in 3 different cities and it's been registered on Google, my business with 3 different business names. My question is, can I use one website for those 3 different business pages?
So 3 different brands are using one site?
Let me read it again. 3 businesses in 3 different cities with 3 different different business names. Can you use one website for those 3 different business pages?
I wouldn't. If they're different businesses, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
You can, but you're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah, if they're
locations, it's one thing, but different businesses.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I thought he was talking about locations.
Yeah, if it depends if it's like a lead gen and you're using a city keyword modifier as your business name, then yes, but you do run a risk. If you're doing it for client work, don't ever do that. Yeah. You always use a brand name.
You're gonna cripple the entities for all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so okay, I agree entirely. But if it's one business and 3 different locations, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. But if it's 3 different businesses, like a chiropractor, a garage, and a grocery store on one website, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Not at all.
No. That would basically be like using Yelp or some type of directory as your URL for each location, and they do not like that.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, boys. Ty Lopez asks, does anybody have any insight about Google moving maps to a new paid platform?
Ty's on here?
So
it's called yes and no. It's called Google Guarantee. I think you touched a little bit of it last week.
Well, I think This is a different one. So,
Is this for like, are they going to be paid for just GMB listings? I don't think
that Google announced that their API, they're going to start charging for their API. So if you have a plugin, or if you're a developer, you got a mobile app that pulls a map out of Google using the API, you're going to get charged for it. That's the only thing they do.
Yeah, it's not. You're not getting charged for your GMB listing itself. No. You're getting charged using their API,
and that's already in effect. If I'm not mistaken, they already were charging for it, aren't they?
Yeah, they were charging for it before if you pulled so much, and now they're just making sure that.
Yeah, exactly.
You used to be able to get it for free without internet billing info, so they weren't even. And now they just came to the times and realized they are losing a lot of money that way. So.
Yep.
Ted Kubitis said in the chat, give us a Clint looks bored hashtag if you think Clint looks bored. Clint looks bored. We need a whole bunch of hashtags. Josh looks drunk. Clint looks bored. You know, the skeleton, the deer skull is
exactly
moving
what
again,
I was going to say. Yeah.
Is he wearing that shirt because he's feeling blue or just because he likes blue?
Exactly.
Doesn't match his underwear.
Because it's the first shirt I grabbed on the way out of the
Exactly.
I have to do this goddamn show again. I grabbed the shirt. Okay, Ty Lopez asks, he did ask that. Ty Lopez already asked that, and I already said it. Beauty Bubble says, are you guys seeing any changes in search with all the podcasting widgets placed on pages?
That's a promotion technique. Doesn't really affect SEO one way or another. And I've done podcasts, SoundClouds, videos, all that stuff. So you can use that podcast to just draw more audience.
Darren Marion says, Clint looks beat up. I don't think Clint looks beat up. Clint, do you have a black eye? Did you get in a fight?
Probably the shadows.
It's just the shadows.
You see the other guy.
Yeah, you should see the other guy. I wouldn't want to see that. That would not be pretty. The Magnet says, once you achieve good local rankings, is it possible to then target national rankings, or will Google continue to categorize your site as a local site? Ooh, that's a good question.
Mobile first has changed a hell of a lot, is how I answer that. And there's a lot of testing people can do.
Yes and no. I'll say that.
Once again, that's what I would say. Jordan and I are totally synced. We're like blood brothers here. Woo. I have actually seen that where local sites have a blog, which we've already gone over. I detest. And the blog is ranking very well locally, globally rather, and getting a lot of rankings, not making any sales for them whatsoever or doing anything for the local site really, except for maybe some PA, I suppose. But so yeah, the answer is yeah, it can. Is that good for a business strategy? Who knows? But it is. I have seen it is possible. But yeah, once they think your entity is local based, you're. I think it's fair to say, you guys, let me know if you disagree. Your rankings are going to skew a little bit to the local.
Yes.
Yeah, depending on the keyword. If Google has chosen that keyword needs local results, and then it's going to be a local keyword. So
exactly. Yeah.
You just got to do your keyword research and make out your content calendar right, and you'll be all right.
At what point would you make it two different sites?
I think if I was changing the nature of the business completely. So if I was, I was a local thing, and then I decided I want to make some national, and I got some traffic, I was making some money. Let's be an e-com now. That's when I'd probably go.
Yeah, I'd let the money dictate, because if you can get on the top of Google, get to page one once, why not do it twice? Why not do it 4 times?
Yeah,
and just get that increased exposure if you can.
And if you can afford to run 2 sites at once, you have some extra risk protection that if one site gets hit, the other one hopefully would be fine.
For sure.
Easy Tutorial 101 asks, are these monthly fees, I guess the ones that we mentioned earlier, for local, the 500 and up?
Yeah.
So as it turns out, another odd thing, Jordan and I charge almost the exact same amount. I charge 500 to 3,000, usually around there, sometimes a bit more, very rarely less. And so it depends on who you're asking. Clint, who has a fancy black hat and has higher fees, he said around 1,500 and up. So it all depends on who you're going to. But at the end of the day, you get what you pay for. So I keep telling clients who want to pay me $500 a month, that means you get 5 hours of my grunt worker's time. You know, if I bill them at $100 an hour, you're getting 5 hours of their time. They can only do so many pages during that. And I'm sure it works the same. Gabriel was asking this earlier as well. So you have to do the math. I break it down per hour because I come from a consulting world where everything is billed per hour. So I bill out at X, they bill out at Y. And if you're at a smaller, $500 a month is a smaller budget as far as I'm concerned for SEO for most markets.
Yeah, it's tiny. At $500 a month, I'm building the initial content. They're maybe getting some links, doing some entity stuff, and then I'm not touching it in month like 3+ for a while. I'll see how long they keep paying me.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and everything. If they're paying X per month, you're doing the work over the whole month as well. It's not done. You know, it's not like you're going to get a worker at $500 a month every day for 8 hours doing stuff.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the same for those $1,500 clients I take too. If it's going to cost me a lot of money to rank for it, then, well, you're going to pay $1,500 a month, but it's also going to take you 6, 8, 10 months to rank because it's, you know, your keywords hard.
Right.
Expectation management's really key with client work. I mean, it just comes down to the fact that clear communication and making sure they understand what's going to happen. You know, I see people try to sell stuff, you know, with bait and switch, and that's never going to make anything long term. You know, half the SEO firms, if not more of them out there, are literally just project management firms where they take on a client, they know what their churn is, and they just manage that client for 6 months and make sure they replace it with 2 more clients in that 6-month period, and they don't care what happens to the business. And so if you start getting to these lower price points and packages, that's kind of what you start getting into. So yes, the question was, is it monthly? Yes, these are monthly fees because you never know, in a month you might be needing to do something. So that's what it comes back to, knowing what your costs are for everything and making sure you have enough budget to make profit and to fulfill for the client to make sure that they make profit as well.
Yeah. And I would say the more that you can embed yourself into their business, the pricing point isn't going to be a factor. Now it's going to be, let's do this. I think the more you care about their business and embed yourself into there and learn about their company, you know, spend a couple weeks learning what their ROI is, learning what products and services they do, then pricing isn't a factor at that point.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Is everything. Like any client I have that's at $1,000 a month, I mean, that's advisory only. And there's an upfront expectation that I will advise them on their marketing plan, but they have to execute it. And as long as you manage that expectation, that's totally fine.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It all depends on if you're the experts billing out their time or the grunt workers billing out their time and how the packages work. So it depends on what they can pay, what they want to pay, what you want to make. There's like a million different factors you can put into it. Louis Hidalgo asks, any tips on how I can leverage something like Restaurant Depot, which is like 2 doors down my branding business? I don't even know how I understand the question. So Louis is asking us, do we have any tips on how he can leverage something like a Restaurant Depot? A, what is Restaurant Depot? Is this a thing in the States?
Well, it's probably a big brand or a popular restaurant or whatever next to his business. Yeah. I would probably think about doing PPC. You know, hey, while you're at the depot, come stop by here later after you're done or whatever, because we're just down. Social, you can do that kind of the same way. Go over to the Restaurant Depot and start networking with the owners and do joint promotions. And then
that's what I first thought. Like, you need to do this physically.
Yeah. And, you know, SEO wise, you know, people, if there's a lot of people looking for that, then do a blog piece on how the directions to get from there to here. So now your brand's there. And, oh, those are the people that gave us the directions, that kind of thing. So, you know, you can play off of it, their popularity a little bit.
It's really interesting. We're getting a lot of SEO, people who want to become SEOs kind of questions for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but Digital Exhale asks, when just starting out, is there a recommendation for a trial run at reduced fee? So without having proof, how can best get the attention for small business?
It's a waste of time. Yeah, please don't do it.
We've done so many funnel testings. We've done, you know, free SEO to page 1, or, you know, free SEO to a new ranking keyword, reduced trials. it just doesn't.
It attracts the wrong kind of clients too.
Exactly.
They're gonna be a huge pain in the ass. The only reason that they submitted your form is because they want something for free, and then when you hit page 1, all right, time to pay. Well, we want to be top 5. Fuck you, you know. And then
you can write paper for it, but it just does not work out to get creative with that kind of stuff. It doesn't test out.
And Ken C asks a similar question. I left my in-house SEO job after 2 years in order to pursue working on my own. Any tips or suggestions on getting my first client? Never did much sales before.
Partner, if you're not a salesman, find somebody that can sell.
or
find someone with the Rolodex and get a cut.
Yeah, or pick a niche that you know something about. Like for me, I started out doing locksmith. I actually own a locksmith business, so I know how to talk to those people. Find something that you love to do. Maybe it's home remodeling, you know, something that you can go and talk to the business owner. You have that common relationship. Then it's a common ground that you can talk about, and then start learning about their business and how you can improve their business.
If you're really doing something that doesn't cost you a lot, like Digital Ear, I built that off of the page speed optimization service. So every client that I got from there in the beginning came out of that $95 trip or $97 tripwire sale. Start off that way.
Well, another thing too is power base. I know people in our paid groups hear me say a lot about it, but Cardone talks about power base a lot. Reach out to people you know that like have contacts in the businesses. Like if I want to go after a bigger business, I'm going to reach out to as many people as I know in that company. And then it's like fucking Brad's everywhere. And then it's like just an octopus and it comes in. It's like, yeah. And then I can start running ads just to them. You know,
I see Brad everywhere too. I'm at Best Buy. I turn around. Brad is behind there. I'm at a restaurant with my wife. Brad is there.
Holding up an iPad. Yeah. I'm like
what's going on? Brad is following me. I have a question about this stuff. Another big black hat who will remain unnamed, who normally does very well with all of their sales and whatnot, reported that they just did a big outreach of a similar kind of course of what you guys are doing, not on the same topic, something totally different, but the similar kind of system, and they didn't get very many sales at all. And recently, Barry Schwartz on his blog said that 60% of people are getting away from SEO, with 10% of people dropping it completely. Are you guys having trouble getting clients, or have you seen sales dwindling, or do you see things getting harder as time progresses, or do you think that SEO is dying like that, or do you think there's more and more customers?
I think Barry's numbers are coming from somewhere else. Maybe I'm gonna just go on the limb and say that he meant the people, i.e., guys like you and me, are quitting SEO and going on to other fancy things like inbound marketing and social media management. But companies as a whole, they're getting smarter and they're catching on. One, they're paying more now, which is clearly evidence when you see sites like Fiverr and stuff where the prices have gone up and they're actually, you know, still maintaining and they're getting pretty high over at Fiverr, and they're paying. So people are paying more for SEO services or any kind of digital services. So I think that's going to continue to grow, and we'll be able to continue to ask more as long as we can keep up with the AI and the rank brains and all that madness. And
let me ask this. Let me ask the same question another way. Would you guys say right now is a good time to get into SEO as a job?
It's harder than it used to be, but there's many ways to package SEO that are very attractive to Fortune 500 companies, to local businesses. You don't have to just go and say, hey, I'm going to rank you for 4 keywords. You can be creative in what you're selling, be creative on your line items, and you can make packages that are very attractive to the decision makers in those companies. So if you have the resources and you have, I mean, I personally think it's a hard thing for people to go out and do solo if they want to get into, you know, higher end type clientele. Usually it takes a team, in my opinion. Even affiliate marketing is easier with a team. So solo, definitely harder than it was when I got into it, but not the end of the world, because like Brad said, and you know, other methods. You just need one person that trusts in you, that has connections to make that connection. And if you can sell and you can explain the benefit to that person, then that's your first client. And now you have capital to work on your second client, you know? So I wouldn't say get away from it. I agree with Clint. It's probably more people jumping ship, like when everyone jumped ship in like 2008 or so to Amazon. You know, people got scared of the industry and they changed the way they market. And I would agree that that's probably where the numbers are coming from too, just like Clint said.
And I would say that doing both is probably a little bit more difficult now. So it just depends. Are you going in wanting to be an SEO salesman or an SEO technician? You know, are you wanting to do the work, or do you want to go out and sell it? So starting out as a one-man team and going out and doing it on your own, I would say it's a little bit more difficult now. So it just depends on what your goal is.
It is harder to fake the funk. Like when I started, you can bullshit your way through a sale and then go learn that later. Today's customers, they're actually coming informed. So they kind of know some of the jargon when you're talking to them.
Right.
Yep. A lot of the times a call will not just be a decision maker. They'll also have their IT lead, or if they have a director of marketing, those are the types of calls you're going to get with 2 or 3 people on them. And that's why it's nice to have a team that you can pull from different skill sets. And if a sales agent needs a SEO tech or an IT tech on a call, then they can bring them on the call and match what's going on the other side, so that the conversation can continue and you're not going to get stepped on by the director of marketing or the IT director or whoever, you know, and that's a big portion of it, as well as you start to move up in different types of contracts.
So we keep having a lot of, we keep having a lot of questions about how to get clients. Let's turn it right back to local and ask this question before we close the show, which will be very soon. What are the top local factors? How do questions, reviews, and descriptions rank in relation to other factors? So what are the top local factors, and how do questions, reviews, and descriptions rank in relation to everything else?
For reviews, I would say watch my webinar, because I talk about that and how to use reviews. Local factors, it's going back to what Brad and Mike teach, and that's the triple T. So it doesn't matter if it's national or local, using those elements is going to help you.
And also the things that you all listed, it's on-page optimization. Questions, reviews, and descriptions are all essentially on-page optimization. And then, of course, the next conversation was how are you going to optimize your map listing? So it's much the same. I can't wait for Ted to get bored with Quora and make one for maps.
Yep.
Yes.
I bet there's a lot of people waiting for that. Okay. Actually, Ted, now that you're porting it to Chrome, will you be able to do maps more effectively?
I always could. It was just a matter of finding the time and the market demand to do it.
Okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. If you want a local version of Quora, the only just tell me what to do, set it, forget it software that's actually powerful and works, put in the comments down here that you want a local version of Quora, and that will crowbar Ted into making it.
just put his email down there, then he'll get,
I'll put his address down there. Send him mail. Have
show up at his house.
Knock on his door.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if the last little questions here. How do I find the webinar? Well, here's how you find the webinar, folks. So thanks very much, guys, for being on the show. Here's the URL for the webinar. I will put it here in the chat, and I will put it in the description as well.
If you can't find the link, just go to nfgseo.com, and then you should be able to find it from the homepage.
Local SEO webinar is here. I'll save those changes. So that should be live on the description as well. I would like to thank everybody for being on the show. Brad, Clint, Gabriel, Jordan, Mike, and Ted. What are your final thoughts, guys? What are your final 5-second thoughts?
Mobile first is great.
Mobile first is good. Definitely.
Google Maps is better.
Keep building. Create your processes so you can move faster, make more money.
Hey, go watch Jordan's webinar. I do a lot of maps. We make a lot of money in maps, and I learned some stuff out of there. So basic, intermediate guys, go in there and get that course.
Sounds good. Well, thanks very much, folks, for watching. Thanks, you guys, for joining. This has been the White Hat versus Black Hat SEO Show. If you have any SEO questions at all or any questions about the show, you can email me at joshbashinsky@gmail.com. This is all the time we have for today. So join us next week for another show. And as I like to say, as always, good luck in the SERPs. See you, folks.
Peace.
Where's the stop broadcast button? Damn it. Oh, there it is. Okay, see you now.